Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talk of the Empire. Today with Zero Empires and Mr. T90. How are you doing, guys?
Hello, hello. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
And first of all, give us some feedback if the sound is fine. I hope so. And yeah, today we will have basically a small recap of whole 2017. We will talk about some tournaments, smaller ones, bigger ones, some major changes, some development, and maybe a small look into the future. Sexy hoodie there, Zach.
Yeah, it's my Christmas sweater, feeling festive, getting into the mood for Christmas here.
Oh, sweet stuff.
So it's the last talk of the Empire of the year, you know.
Yeah, that's true. And my last stream as well for the year.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh,
that's
feels
sad.
bad, man. But yeah, we have a 24-hour stream of the Viper coming up, so...
Yeah, I was going to talk about that later.
Yeah, okay.
We'll save that.
Yeah, T90, are you shy today?
Well, it's weird because I can see you guys, and so I can see when you guys are going to speak. You can't see me, so like I'm trying to find an opportunity to jump in here. But I'm good, man. Happy to be here. You guys gave us some entertainment in the past with a good podcast. Glad I could jump in.
Okay, sweet.
My sweater's looking pretty good as well. You just can't see the sweater.
Yeah, are you wearing the same sweater that you posted on your Twitter?
No, I did not wear that one, but that one comes out every year.
That's the good one. That's what it's all about. The chicken wings.
Yep.
Okay, and I would say we should just jump into the first topic. It's about some smaller tournaments. I will give you guys the link for all the overviews of the tournaments. Actually, Limp is doing an exceptional job there and is posting all the tournaments, all the roundups. And I think we should maybe just jump into, what was the first one I was mentioning? Every game counts. For all the guys who don't really remember, that's kind of where we started off the new year. It was a tournament, I believe, starting in January, and had a solid 4-digit prize pool and what was played on the X patch, and every great player was playing it, but it was exclusively streamed on Ruby Official, and therefore... exclusively. Zach, actually, you were casting a series, right?
Oh, how times have changed. Yeah, I think so. I can't remember, to be honest. Like, this rounded up in the summertime, right? Because I was saying to you before the stream, why is this on the list? I was hoping you would kind of explain what you're thinking about right now, what topic you want to bring to
I wanted to talk about some of the smaller tournaments. We can take a look at the brackets here. At the end, it was 6 players going into a round robin. And although Leary beat the Viper there, the Viper in the end still won one of the many tournaments he would win that year. T90, how are your memories about that tournament?
Well, I don't have many memories because I wasn't able to partake in the event. And I just remember... I would be streaming either during any DC game or like after or basically any time. And people would ask, hey, T90, are you going to cast this? And I should have just added a command to my stream that said, yeah, no, we can't do that. So like Zach said, times have changed a lot. I think that open streaming is kind of the norm now. That was kind of the one exception. But I was personally disappointed I couldn't really take part in that event, and thus I didn't really follow it too much, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, maybe an event that was very well received was the Arabia 2v2 tournament, and guys, for all the guys who remember, who won there?
That was Miguel and Dogal, correct?
No. It was the Viper with MBL again, but
Wait,
they had a
what,
very good finals.
Okay, I
think-
might be confusing it with something.
I think we would save time if we went over the tournaments that Viper didn't win this year.
Yeah. Nations
you know.
Cup, maybe?
Yeah, well, he didn't play, so does that even count? I don't know. But yeah, it was Viper and NBL, Nikov, Miguel in the final.
Yeah.
It was a good tournament. It's Master Arabia 2v2.
That was pretty
Personally,
sick.
I really didn't. I was really excited about it, but I don't know. I think. Do you know what day the tournament concluded? Didn't it conclude in October, November-ish?
No. Let me take a look.
Well, anyway,
2v2. It ended in March 2017.
So
we're making this stream. It's a time capsule. We're gonna come back to this.
So obviously, my recollection is awful, but at that time, personally, I just didn't have time for that tournament because I was streaming and working. So that'll probably be the answer for a lot of this for me. But
okay. Well, it was a great tournament and the Viper win. And actually, one of the few wins of MBL this year, if not the only one, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, MBL has had a presence in a lot of these events, but he's not had many podium finishes, which is, I don't want to say surprising, but, he's been at the top of the 1v1 ladder this year. And that was one of the ones which he did get carried to victory, right?
Yeah, true. And so let's talk about the last of all the small tournaments that I have prepared, and it was the Gladiators of the Arena. Another 2v2 tournament, and we had actually those are the last 8 teams that I'm showing you, and we had Eddie and Miguel win this one. So Miguel in another finals, but this time he was winning, and that proved to be a very entertaining tournament. It was due to Doubt and Viper traveling at different times, so that they teamed up with Kalini and didn't make it into the final stage. Yeah,
I remember there was some drama about that, right? People were kind of mad that Kalini was playing. And it's like, you've got to stay competitive. Yeah. But I mean, not every tournament has to be super serious. If you get entering for a little bit of fun, then I think that's fine.
Yeah, and I remember people were like complaining, like, he bought himself into the team, and the case was if he wasn't playing with them, they wouldn't play at all.
Yeah,
and it was more of a thank you to him because he was super supportive at that time. He's so supportive, but like, that was at the time where he had like the crazy numbers throwing at the top streamers.
Yeah. I think I would have liked to have seen a tournament that had just more teams involved, because if you look at the brackets, there weren't a lot of teams.
No, it was only the top 8. It was like 32 teams, and the top 8 was the bracket I gave you because that was the double elimination phase.
That's the final. So Miguel showed himself in Arabia and Arena, while you couldn't really say the same for, well, no offense, Eddie is known as an Arena player. Mm-hmm. So I was really impressed with Miguel. I'm a huge Miguel fanboy. Like in King of the Desert, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point, I thought he could do very well. It's good to see players can perform on different stages.
Yeah, that's so true. So some honorable mentions in those small tournaments that we had was, let me take a look, Legacy Cup 2v2 tournament. Obviously for me as a deathmatch player and the winner of the tournament, quite a big deal, but like not super important overall.
We had to slip that one in there.
Yeah, and I would say, if we have to say tournaments as well, the return of the Polaris series, a weekly tournament for $50, and has shown a lot of interesting games as well. Am I missing something here, guys?
Well, I mean, there's been quite a lot of sort of smaller events as well, but I think we had the noobs of AOC recently going on. I don't know how many people were following that, but I didn't actually get to see much of it, to be honest, so can't really say much about that one. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was just going to interject there. I really like the tournament. I think it always needs to exist, whether it's called Noobs of AOC or Noobs of Wololo or whatever. I think that having a Noobs tournament is really good because in professional tournaments, you're obviously seeing like the same rotation of 32, like 64 players, same teams. There's not many new names cropping up there. And I don't know, there's so many spectators now. It's great that there were a lot of new names. Like, for example, a lot of my regulars were in that tournament. And I just love seeing people being able to join in a small, fun tournament and get involved more.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was some small HD ones as well, which were ran throughout the year. But, you know, it's stuff that doesn't get properly casted, or it's stuff that just kind of goes under the radar a little bit. But it's cool to actually have those kind of things there for people who still want to take part rather than just watch the pros all the time.
Yeah, it wasn't the best timing really either, because it was right smack in the middle of King of the Desert. That's just the worst possible timing. I understand that Pumiko was, I guess, he only had that time frame to organize it due to his schedule. But in the future, I'd like to see more exposure there, because I certainly would have liked to have casted that more.
I personally have zero interest in casting noob games, and a lot of people asked me, and I said like, okay, great that you're doing it, and I love how bright the community is, but I personally, I can't even watch like two normal 2Ks play against each other. I need the top 16 to get excited, honestly.
Yeah.
It feels bad because I cannot give like the guys enough exposure in competitive games, and they're playing the hard out. But yeah, other people are more excited about it than me.
Well, that's fair. Each to their own, right? But I think it's good to have something there. Like, this is what I liked about Nations Cup as well, that we had the Silver League, and there was still opportunities for, you know, UKC, which was the team I was in, to still play and take part and be part of the bigger event. I think that was nice. You know, everybody is involved at a more deeper level. Yeah,
and jumping to the Nations Cup then, Silver League was incredibly packed as well. You have to think about that. Tedder was playing, Leary was playing, Jordan played one game. So like that wasn't like the low level. It was just not the greatest of all teams. But yeah, let's talk about Nations Cup in general. T90, maybe your thoughts to begin with.
Well, just like Zach said, I was really happy. I had the opportunity to cast games, but I couldn't really cast the final stages. So I casted kind of the mid-stage of the tournament, and I think my favorite set was Venezuela versus Colombia or something.
What? Okay.
I'm serious. I mean, if it was really good, I would obviously remember the specifics, but I didn't know any of the players. As far as I know, they were two South American teams, and they were around 1,800 range, and the games were incredible, especially because the map pool was awesome for Nations Cup. So I had a great time.
Cool. I mean, I didn't see those games, to be honest. I think that would have been a Silver League one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think that the tournament as a whole ran really well. You know, obviously there was the little bit of difficulty getting Brazil to the grand final. But you know, we spoke about Nations Cup a lot during previous Talk of the Empires, but we haven't really spoken about that grand final, and I think that's what we should really talk about today, because I think that was, again, a huge event for the community, right? I mean, actually getting Brazil and Finland to China, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it still felt underwhelming. Maybe like the first time was SY against Frantic. That like read bigger, honestly. The Chinese were more excited. The event was sick. And Finland against Brazil B, on paper, it's a great match, and I love to see it, love to cast it. But I felt it didn't have the real big hype around it compared to the first China offline finals.
Yeah, I would agree. Just based off watching it at home, there was a lot more hype involved when the atmosphere was there, and the atmosphere was not there when it's Brazil and Finland. But that's kind of to be expected, right? There's nothing we can really do about that, as far as the crowd is concerned, right?
Exactly. Like it's not the fault of the teams. I mean, the teams obviously deserve to be there, and that was the best that, you know, was on offer. You know, that's like the best two teams going at it. But just the fact that it was in China, and then the Chinese crowd isn't so hyped. We had less people sort of from the international community. Nupford, you weren't there, for example. And then who was there? Actually, Robo was there as well. I'm trying to think who was. There was a lot of people there last year.
Yeah, exactly. This year it was only Eddie as the only random person. And last year we were like 10 to 12 people. It was like so much, like the caster crew and so many randoms flying with us as well and really enjoying it. And obviously, like Dogao as more of an international, or the Tyrants, it was, yeah, like for me, obviously, it was a great experience because I was there. But I believe like it wasn't really broadcast because no one was really there. I'm a bit surprised it wasn't like MEMP really into going there.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, I would have loved to see more people actually there, but it is difficult. China isn't an easy place to get to, and we had this issue with the visas for the Brazilians, to the point where I almost didn't. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen at one point. But go ahead, T90.
Well, I was going to say, I think not the first Nations Cup, but when you were there, Nilly, that was really an amazing experience to watch as a viewer. The crowd was into it. There weren't too many technical difficulties. Maybe I'm just pushing that out of my mind, but it could just be that it was very hard to follow that up. I'm not saying that it won't be improved in the future, but we can't do anything about the atmosphere because obviously people in China are going to be more excited about their home country. And potentially those randoms maybe weren't as excited to go if the bigger names weren't there where they were previously. But my biggest issue with that was there were a lot of technical difficulties as far as I understand. And that, for me, especially when you're flying those people to a different country to play, is just unacceptable to experience those issues. Those should have been ironed out ahead of time.
It is tough. Like, they don't get into the venue too early. Like, it's super expensive because they have, like, more of a higher class hotel. So, yeah. I believe it is tough, and they didn't have the luxury we had at the Gamescom, but yeah, we'll talk about that later as well.
Sure.
So maybe any final thought about the Nations Cup? The prize pool was over 33K, so technically it was
the
incredibly
biggest,
big.
Yeah, in terms of prize pool, is by far the biggest event of the year from that perspective. It probably was the biggest event of the year in terms of the number of players taking part. And to be honest, I think the event, like I say, it ran really well. I think the admins did a great job. It ran really smoothly on the online section. But, the LAN didn't live up to expectations. Perhaps it didn't really live up to what happened last year. And I think that's down to a few reasons that we've touched on already, but also like time zone. It's very early or very late, depending on where you are in the world. But the Chinese time zone is not ideal for most people watching. And then obviously, as T90 said, there were the technical issues as well, which is a little bit disappointing. But, maybe they'll learn from their mistakes this year, and then next year could be the best one yet if they do it again. I have to wait and see. And
my final thoughts are that I was just really happy with how competitive the teams were in the final stages of the tournament because, in Age of Empires 2, we have a lot of talent, but oftentimes you'll find the same players in 1v1s getting to the final stages. You'll find the same teams in team games getting to the final stages. And this Nations Cup, we had Finland versus Brazil, which probably was not expected in the beginning. Probably were banking on China to get there. And Brazil A and Brazil B had two very strong teams, and Finland and China. So I was just excited with the amount of competitiveness.
Yeah.
Wasn't like Finland C2 and Brazil B C3?
I think so. I'm not sure. I know, like, I expected Finland to make it to the final. I wasn't sure who was going to go with them. And I just want to say, actually, like, to Brazil B as well, who ended up winning the tournament. What a great performance from them as well, like, overall. I think they played great. I think they had so few games where they looked, even worried. Like, they did get knocked down into the lower bracket, and then they bounced back, got to the final. And then they beat Finland A in what essentially was a rematch, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, exactly. We just have the brackets on the screen as well.
Okay.
Finland A 1-4-3, and a very tight series, and then the offline finals 4-2 in favor of. Oh no, it was best of 9, right? Oh, I just closed it. Well, yeah, but I believe it was. Was it only best of 7 offline? Let me check that again.
It was, I think.
It was only best of 7. That felt underwhelming as well, right?
Yeah. I don't like. The thing is, though, I feel bad sort of complaining about the finals because overall the tournament was really good. in my
Mhm,
opinion.
yeah.
I thought the tournament was great. Yeah, and I think as well, that it was a great opportunity for Finland and Brazil to actually go to China and travel together and meet each other. And I think that's something that it's so rare that happens in the age community. So I think that's a really nice opportunity
Yeah.
for both teams, and you can't take that away from it, really.
Yeah, how many offline events did we have now? Like
Three,
four
four,
in the last
four.
future?
Yeah,
WSVG, if you count that one.
if you
Or
count
is it?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't open, but like 48 players. So we had like 4 offline events and 3 like open offline events.
In 2 years. Or was it 3 years? 2 years,
Well,
yeah.
in the last 12 years, if you want to count it that way, or 15 years.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Say that. And
Yeah.
hopefully more to come. I mean, we'll see, won't we?
Yeah. Well, we will have that later, Zach.
Okay.
And yeah,
Cool.
so then let's go into the closer future. Or closer past, I want to say. King of the Desert.
Oh, man.
Guys,
What
your
a
thoughts?
tournament.
What a tournament. Yeah.
What a tournament.
Oh, yeah. It was so good.
Huge credit to Memb and Swiss Boy for putting it together. Like, seriously, it was one of the best tournaments we've had in a long time. Really refreshing, non-mirror civs, and just fantastic games all the way throughout.
Yeah, personally for me, that's the best tournament I've been able to take part in. You guys have been here longer than I have, the competitive scene, and that is the best 1v1 tournament that I have been able to take part in and cast. And I love the settings, non-mirror civs. I love the civ draft. I loved how each and every set was different. So you start with best of 3s, best of 5s, best of 7. Like each thing is different, and it just keeps the viewers excited the entire way through, and the casters as well. I loved it.
And it was on the best map, right? Arabia.
Of course.
I think that was a really nice thing, the Arabia being the constant throughout the whole event, because it kind of helps you to assess how the civs match up against one another and seeing how the bans and picks sort of played out. That to me was a really, really nice part of this event. And I think that since we've got the captain's mode now, since we have sort of things outside of the game to consider as well, it just adds another level of sort of strategy, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I loved it as well. I like single elimination. I like pack series. The lineup was incredible. Just think about it. Like the lowest was like 2.2k or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wanted to get in.
That's just so sick, and the level of play was high, the training was high, and that's actually one of the rare things in Age of Empires tournament, that people actually care enough to train. And that really happened in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Can you bring the brackets up again? Because I want to just highlight Max and Hart, and just look at where they were seeded and look at where they ended up in that tournament. I think we saw some nice, I like surprises in a way. I think Hart, for example, I don't want to say surprised everyone, but he definitely had like his best 1v1 tournament performance to date, I think.
He definitely, I think the community, I know that there can be a slight disconnect from what like your average caster or top 32 player would expect versus the viewers, but everyone knows Tato more than Hart because of his activity on streams and videos and stuff. So that upset there for me was one of the biggest when Hart 3-0'd Tato, because most people did not expect, maybe they expected Hart to win, but they did not expect him to sweep Tato like that.
Yeah, and then he went on to take out Doubt. Obviously, it was a closer series, but like he knocks out Tato, he knocks out Doubt, and then he goes to face Lyri, which I think was a really cool match because those guys play side by side all the time.
Yeah.
How often do you see them facing each other? And then obviously, Lyri being the number 1 seed does make it through. But similar story on the bottom half of the bracket. You've got Max going through, knocking out Slam, knocking out Melkor, knocking out, I think it was Lix in round 1. Again, like he was 19th seed, and he got through to face Viper in the semi-final.
I think what excites me about that as well is that
sorry, he took MBL. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah, it's fine. He beat Lix, he beat MBL, he beat Slam.
Mm-hmm.
He beat players who primarily play 1v1s. And, a lot of us have known how strong Max is in team games, but we weren't sure how well he would perform in 1v1s because we rarely see him play 1v1s. And so that was what was exciting. And every set was amazing, with the exception of the Viper set. He took it to 5 games. So it went to the last game down to the wire every single time.
Absolutely. It was a good one. And, I disagree, to be honest. Like, if I had to have one criticism of this tournament, I disagree with Viper being 7th seed going into it. That meant that he faced Jordan 23 in the second round. I don't know, maybe Jordan wouldn't have got further, but I don't think he should have been the 7th seed, really. And I can understand why, but I don't think it was necessary to put him there. Logically. It's tough. I mean,
like, they did that because of the Voobly seed, right? Like the Voobly ranking on the ladder. So if you're in Viper's shoes, you could think, okay, I'm not even going to care about this. And if I get someone in the middle of the table like Jordan or some of the other players there, maybe it would have benefited him. I doubt he put that much thought into it. But I agree, maybe you should base it off previous tournament performances. It's a tough conversation to have, I think.
Seeding is a huge topic, and it's difficult as an admin. But go ahead, Nilly.
I'm just sure that it was done incorrectly this time. Because, like, if you only go by rating and people don't care about rating, especially when W Kingdoms came out, everyone was just playing around, trying strategies, and just went, okay, let's go double castle Karambits and see how good they are. And just rating was so random at that time. And then we see the tournament, and it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, they tried to include it like highest rating and rating at the moment, but it still felt like the Viper is the best player in the world before the tournament, after the tournament. And yeah, it's just unfair to have him earlier.
Yeah. I mean, Ice Cream saying in the chat, are we going to kid ourselves and think it matters where Viper is seeded? I mean, for the Viper, no. I mean, he probably doesn't care where he's seeded. He could be seeded first or last. It's more about the other players that he faces along the way and how that changes the bracket going forward, I think. And I think that was the only criticism of the event for me. And even with that, like, the event was still awesome and the games were still awesome. And I mean, who knows how it would have played out differently, but still. Everything else was perfect, I think.
He doesn't care, but actually he should care more, because if he just gets seed 1 and Leary gets seed 2, they will always face each other if they face each other in the finals. But if he just goes for a random seed, he can face Leary maybe even in the quarterfinals, and then he suddenly has a chance of like 30%, 20% of dropping out of the tournament. Yeah. And it's a shorter series as well. Just think about it. If he gets best of 5 against Leary there, it can get pretty random.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't think we should dwell on that, because obviously, who knows? Like, we don't know what would have happened. But you're right. I think that seeding it's a difficult thing to do right. It's a difficult thing to sort of come up with a system that works every time. And I think that's kind of what T90 said. I think you kind of got to think about past tournaments and kind of think about it without just looking at the ratings.
Yeah. But that's the only hiccup we had with the tournament, like between ourselves, and that is literally before the games even started. So like all the games were great, the settings were great, and I was very happy with it overall.
Yeah, me too. I think it was great. And I think Mem on his stream on the final day, I don't know if he posted this before, but he had a little trailer for a future tournament that's being hosted as well, a 3v3 tournament, I think. I don't know if we have any details of that. Do we know much about that?
I think it's, well, the known thing is that SY will give 2.5K for that. It will be a 3v3 tournament, land maps only. It will, I believe, start in March, and it will be hosted by Swissboy again, and MemTV and supporters want to, put 2.5K as well. Okay.
So, cool. I don't know if you want to dwell on that, Nilly. You're the boss, but I am kind of interested in what your thoughts are, seeing as it's a 3v3.
Whoa. We can absolutely go into that. No problem. Like, it's so natural to go for 3v3. First of all, for SY, because they don't have the
yeah.
best ever 4v4 team at the moment.
Yeah.
So they kind of have to go for 3v3. And the community was screaming for a 3v3 tournament as well.
Yes. And I think SY as well, after changing Nations Cup from 3v3 into 4v4, and then the backlash, now they're like, well, we should probably get on this 3v3 thing, you know. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So we don't, because the tournament hasn't been announced, no signups or anything, we don't know exactly what teams will be, but I imagine Aftermath will be incredibly strong, right?
I hope so.
I'm excited to see them in action. And I think that seeing as it's been made a 3v3, we could potentially see more teams at the high level. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll have to wait and see until the new year, I guess, until we get some more information.
It really was a teaser, wasn't it? Because there was no info.
But Dilly seems to know everything, so he's probably spoiled us all now.
Well, I got asked, or like I had some contact with SY before the tournament as well. And even more teasers.
Oh.
I will host a weekend tournament at the first weekend of January. In a 3v3 format, so maybe we will see some teams form there already.
Nice.
And yeah, let's see about that. But it will be a totally different format. It will not really judge who will win the MEM tournament later on then.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Is it going to be a bit more like a, King of the Hippo style thing, like with the
more
the
serious
crazy settings,
but
or
not
serious?
completely serious.
Right, gotcha.
Not deathmatch, obviously. And yeah, same weekend is T90's 24-hour stream.
Again, I wanted to bring that up later if we can save that
then
towards
let's talk about
the later thing. Yeah,
when we have viewer sub numbers, we can go into that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
and
cool.
Yeah, then let's jump to the next topic and let's go for Wololo Kingdoms and user patch 1.5. What a huge treat we have at the moment playing on Woobly.
Yeah, Man, it's so crazy because user patch was already so good, and now it's easier to get Wololo Kingdom set up on Woobly. Shout out to Giant Apple. I believe Tails started that project as well. I hope I'm not missing any names.
Tails,
I imagine
and then
Stricter was also involved. But yeah, I mean, had they not done that, we would not have seen King of the Desert most likely. And it's just made everything so good for this community. User patch 1.5 is just beyond my wildest dreams, honestly. Like, there are things that have been added to that, and I've heard will be added to that help out casters and players so much. And I'm blown away. The only thing, and this is unavoidable, the only thing is that it still kind of sucks. For someone who maybe joins my stream or Zach's streams or Nilly's stream, they ask about Wololo Kingdoms and Woobly, and they try and set it up. It's not, like, very easy, because I just did it myself when I got my new PC. And that's the only sad thing about it. But it's making the best of a bad situation, I think.
I mean, if you think about it, if you've got HD Edition, and then you have to go and get the compatibility patch, download Woobly, get that working, and then go and download Wololo Kingdoms, run the installer, it does get a little bit intense for some people, I guess. And not everybody's that techie, you know. That is like it's quite a big barrier to entry. But with that said, as you said, it is awesome, and I think user patch 1.5 kind of was a surprise because Scripter had said 1.4 would be the last one, and then they come out with 1.5, and as you said, it like blew everyone away. It's awesome, and the fact that Wololo Kingdoms is on it now, and we're starting to see more people actually playing Wololo Kingdoms, just casually, you know, without a tournament to give them a reason to play it. That's really cool.
I'm so excited. I love the new civilizations. I'm enjoying playing 1v1 Arabia, like for the first time in my life probably, because it's so much more viable. Like the lag is so much smaller. Team games run very smoothly, and it just feels so much better to play in 2017 than it just felt like 3-4 years ago.
I think most people can agree that the new civs add a breath of fresh air, really. And a lot of the higher rated players are definitely in favor of that. There's still a few people sort of holding out and saying, you know, it's imbalanced, it needs work, we don't like the new civs. But I think that's going to happen, you know, over time. things will change and the balance will improve, and that'll be great.
Just today we had a New Balance patch. You saw that.
That's the other thing. Yeah. I mean, before I think you wanted to discuss that, but if you think back to after African Kingdoms was added on HD, I think it took over a year for them to make any balance changes to that, if I'm not mistaken. So, new expansion isn't touched for over a year, and now we've had multiple balances to Rise of the Rajas. It's on Voobly. We have user patch 1.5. It just seems like things are so much better, both with performance and with like civ adjustments and whatnot, and it's making things so much better.
Yeah, I'm super happy on what way we are, and look in the chat, guys. A lot of fixes. I think that would be a talk maybe for another time, talking about probably. Balance, and I think like talking about with Cision or Genital with that could make a lot of sense. And I like that they're seeing what's wrong. I'm not 100% agreeing with how they're approaching it, but I think if we go into that, it could get way too far out what I was actually aiming to go for today.
Okay. Probably. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we can talk about that with Cision or both together. That would be good. At some point in the future. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, would be sweet. Maybe in the end with some question and answers, we can maybe answer some brief ones, like Conitero's camel archers. And I think now we could come to probably the most rising thing actually in this year, starting late last year. It's Escape Gaming. Maybe Zach, you talk about your baby. How did it develop? You had like 10 tournaments with all prize pools between like 3K to 6K.
Yeah.
How did you work with Microsoft? Just give us a wrap up. How did the last year look there?
Well, I'm not going to go on for too long, but we basically started almost exactly a year ago when Battle for Angkor happened, which was the Rise of the Rajas release. So Rise of the Rajas is 1 year old now as well, with all the 4 new civs that came out there. But I mean, we've been hosting events quite regularly. We've been quite quiet recently. I know we did our Regicide edition a couple of weeks ago. That was our last sort of weekend event, and to be honest, I'm really happy with how things have gone. And obviously, we'll talk about this more in the next topic as well, which is the viewer and sub numbers. But I feel like the start of 2017 was kind of the start of a very big growth in viewership and interest in the competitive scene. And it's been really cool to be able to host these tournaments and just do these little weekend things. Obviously, the All-Stars League was a little bit longer. And in 2018, we want to do something even bigger and even better. And unfortunately, I can't really talk about it or say anything about it because it's not all confirmed yet. But if everything goes to plan, it's going to be huge. And I cannot wait to break the news about that. But I mean, thank you to everybody who's supported what we've been doing in the last year. I really appreciate it. And it's been great to be able to work with Microsoft as well and do Gamescom with you guys. And I really hope that this is just the start, I think that would be awesome if we can keep going from here.
We need a bit more, Zach.
What?
Like
I can't say it.
It's a tease. He's announcing the announcement again.
I swear, if it doesn't go through, then I would just look like an ass talking about this because I don't want to hype people up for no reason.
Okay. Yeah, you did nothing obviously. Like, sure. Okay. Yeah, Escape Gaming, incredible events, and obviously Gamescom was like probably the biggest problem for our community was that it was streamed on Mixer, not on Twitch. Yeah. But I believe in general, it was an incredibly good step for Age of Empires 2 and Microsoft support.
Definitely. I think actually getting people like, the Euro Cup was the first like big sponsored European LAN ever. All of the others have been in the US or in China. That was the first one in Europe. How crazy is that, really? And we got to sort of tag along on Gamescom, and we had so many people there. Your football thing before, I think, probably had more people, which was awesome. And just getting everyone together, it was so chilled out, and to meet you both, and yeah, I just had an awesome time doing that.
So I don't know. I left Gamescom so satisfied with how things went. Getting to meet all of you. The tournament went well, and like we were just talking about how things in China, there were a lot of technical difficulties, and like there was so much that could have gone wrong. We had very minor things like a battery in a microphone. We had the color issue on Mixer Stream, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
But I mean, there's so much that could have gone wrong that didn't go wrong, and I still remember. I'm sure Zach doesn't mind me saying this. I'm in the little booth, and Zach is controlling most of the things behind the scenes. And we finally, because there was a delay, we finally get it up and running. Everything's good. And he looks at me. He's like, holy shit, we did it. We're doing this. We're like, yes. And we both got so pumped. Like, yes, this is happening. And yeah, I'm just so glad that everything went as well as it did. It was an amazing experience.
I managed to get about 8 hours sleep over 3 days doing that event. It was like the adrenaline was keeping me going. And the same for Robo as well. Like we both put in so much to make it all happen. And to be honest, it's a real shame to me that the stream quality wasn't there, because the live event itself was a better experience than the stream. But most people saw the stream, right? But the live event, like you're there and you're standing in front of the players. You've got the screens to see everything. Obviously, there's no color issues on those screens. Everything sounds good. There was the issue with the TV going on and off, but there's, like you said, there's so much that could go wrong that didn't, and I'm just happy with how it all turned out in the end. Even if we did have a bit of a green tint on the Mixer stream.
Okay, so Escape Gaming, and yeah, actually, that was a weird thing. T90 earlier said that the exclusiveness of the tournament is now in the past, but Escape Gaming is still going that route, right?
Yeah, and to be honest, I know that so many people think I'm a massive hypocrite because I criticized Voobly years ago for being exclusive with their streaming and such. But times have changed. And the thing is that I've sort of realized I reconciled with Taff before he left, and we spoke. And we were thinking basically along the same lines. And that is, if we have a partnership with Microsoft, there is an expectation there to get as many viewers in one place as possible and direct everyone to that one place. And if you look at other esports, you do see that you have an event organizer. They will do the exclusive stream, and they will have the biggest stream. And the size and the scale of it, even though it may be a little smaller than if it was spread over 5-6 different channels, the one channel being so much larger allows us to do so much more in terms of sponsorship going forward and maintaining that sort of working relationship with Microsoft as well. It is a difficult topic, and it's really cool to see the King of the Desert getting so many viewers across, so many different streams. I just think that it's a different approach. That's a community thing. What we're trying to do is work with companies and work in a business side of the business side of things. And to do that, you have to kind of consolidate everything to one place.
That's just, if you look at other esports, and trust me, I won't pretend to be an expert in other esports, but that's just how it works, honestly. When you bring these big companies in, that's how it has to work. I mean, in the past with Voobly Debate, it was someone organizing a tournament and they were keeping it on Voobly, but there was no Microsoft sponsor. I think the biggest it's ever been has been an SY sponsor or something. So like that debate before was always within our small community, and we didn't have any big companies coming in to sponsor and take us to Europe at Gamescom. It's completely different. So personally, obviously, I would love to say, yeah, I'd love to stream that on my channel. But that's not the way it works. And personally, I understand how it's completely different. I don't think you can compare the situations.
I mean, also as well, I mean, I don't want to just keep going on about this, but like we approaching it in a different way. Like we will pay casters for their time, and we try and make it fair. We're not trying to rely on volunteers. We want to make we want to make something that sustains itself, because as great as it is that the Sly sponsor is there and the Tyrant sponsor has been there and the community supports tournaments by donating, it is unreliable. Like you can't always rely on there to be some donator or some sponsor who has so much money to just put 30K into a tournament. We've been lucky. We've been very lucky that those people have been around to do that.
Yeah, so true. And I think that's, exactly why we have so big numbers in viewers and subscribers nowadays. If we think about it, like the Viper broke 1K subscribers, Memphis after King of the Desert over 700. We have several smaller streamers like Dowd, Jordan, me, MBL, all around 100. T90, how many do you have? 600?
950.
950, sick! Sick! I didn't know that was that high now. Sick. But just incredible. Like, how did Age of Empires explode so heavily? Because if I remember, in the late 2015, I believe there was Rubly and Zach maybe having a combined subs of 300 or 200 or something.
Oh, well, I don't know. Like basically back then I would have like 650 viewers, and I think I got to like 300 subs back then. And then obviously I stopped and took some time off, and I've not really been back on my own channel at least. But I mean, the comparison between then and now, like it's huge now. It's crazy and it's amazing. And I also wanted to say as well, congratulations to Tristan for actually becoming a full-time streamer. And I wanted to ask you, before we sort of discuss viewer numbers and sub numbers, how is that going, and what was it that made you make that decision to do that?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you. I have like this big, there's no face cam, but I have this big sheepish grin on my face right now. So, you know, I always said, even after I got the partnership and my YouTube was growing and my Twitch was growing, I always said that it wasn't going to be possible because like things are so tough here where like, benefits are so important, and normally you're getting benefits through a company, and it's so expensive to get benefits, and there's just so many factors. The taxes are high for streaming. And so I got in a position where I said, you know what, if I hit this goal after 6 months where I work full time and I stream, if I can hit this goal, you know, I can finally try this. And so we'll do it for the next year because I'm actually on my parents' benefits, and we'll see how it goes. Okay.
So when you say like, benefits, sorry for my ignorance, because I don't know that. Yeah, is that like insurance and things? Of
course.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't, like if I get in a car accident without benefits, I could owe tens of thousands of dollars because of the way things work here. So it's just not a wise move. System. Yeah. So, okay. So yeah, man, I mean, so far it's been tough for me to get into a rhythm of full-time content because I moved to a new ISP. We have the holidays coming up, and then I have a 24-hour stream. So it's hard to get into a rhythm, but I've been just really happy with it so far because I can finally put my heart into my content and have some time outside of work, which I didn't the past 2 years.
That's awesome. And
I forget the original question. Yeah.
Sorry. But I'm such an asshole now. I'm sorry.
Well, how's it going? Things have gone really well. My issues with the stream always had something to do with the internet or my PC. So I've ironed out that situation, and my channel, you know, on YouTube has just exploded over the past year. Thank you, Force Nothing, T90 Tree.
Fun.
And yeah, I mean, it's just been amazing to see so many new people come into the game, not even my channel specifically, and just the community is growing as a whole. I mean, there are a lot of subs for each channel, but we have a lot of people who are subbed to multiple channels, which wasn't the same in the past as well. So there's a lot of, the community is growing, and there's a lot of appreciation there and support for everyone creating content.
You see, this is something I want to bring up as well, because I think there's so much more benefit to working together and people collaborating and partnering up and doing projects together, because it doesn't matter if let's say I host you or you host me or you host Nilly. Like, you spread the love around, and the famous saying is a rising tide lifts all ships. And I think if Age of Empires as a whole is growing, if more people are watching the game, then everybody will benefit through having higher viewers, more people actively in the community, more people playing, more people coming over to Voobly. And this is why I've always said, like, you can hate HD as much as you like. You can say that, HD has been buggy and laggy and crap for playing multiplayer, but it has risen all ships. It has been one of the reasons why we have seen so many new players and so many people getting involved.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say, as far as the viewer and sub numbers go and just the community growing, I think you got to credit YouTube content creators, because back when I used to watch Viper, I think he was around 20,000 YouTube subscribers. Yeah. And then when he came back, he's done a really good job with his YouTube channel. Obviously, Zach as well. Spirit of the Walls, another big one. Like, he doesn't stream, but he has indirectly affected the entire community on Twitch.
People like,
so yeah,
even...
I just think...
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, even more obscure people like the Hussar dude, who just makes memes on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, that, it's engaging people. It's keeping people interested and looking at the game. And, Viper this year has obviously been a bit of a revelation. I was saying to Viper 3 years ago, hey, you should stream. You could do this and get a lot of viewers and do really well. And now he's started doing it, and you better believe he's doing well. I mean, he's hitting all-time high and getting collaborations with things like Rocket Beans TV, for example. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, I can talk about that a bit, because not a lot of people know who they are and what they're doing. We had a show called Giga in public television, was broadcasted on NBC. And it had some normal computer techie stuff during the day. And in the evening, we had Giga Games. So every nerd, every teenager was watching that at nights. And those guys, when they got taken off air, founded their own YouTube channel and Twitch channel called Rocket Beans TV. And they still have a huge follower base from those old times. And they just started quite recently, not even half a year ago, some Age of Empires content. And every single YouTube episode has more than 100k views. And they have combined YouTube and Twitch viewers of 6-7k. And last Friday they had over 10k viewers when they played 3v1 against the Viper.
Yeah.
And the Viper had 5.5k.
Yeah.
For over 2 hours, with 2.8k of them being Germans. So it's there's so much potential. Just think about it. If they knew what was going on in Cologne in August, we would have had 1,000 viewers there on stage.
Maybe we will next year. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. There's no plan to go to Cologne this year. But I mean, the German community is huge, and I'm sure that we can reach more people through these kind of bigger streamers. I think there's French streamers who get 7-8k when they do Age of Empires as well. So the community's out there. They don't know necessarily what's going on. And I think I'm going to be in contact with Rocket Beans as well, and get them maybe involved with some escape projects going forward as well.
Good stuff. Yeah. I believe there.
So,
okay, go ahead, T90.
I was gonna. I don't want to divert too much, but I just want to say that, thanks to the community, I know we only have 400 people watching, but we're talking about the content creators, but at the same time, we've had dedicated individuals coming to streams and coming to YouTube videos and saying uplifting things to these content creators to keep them going for a very long period of time. So the community really is owed a lot of credit as well. Not that we were intentionally not saying that, but it's been great.
Yeah, there's been an amazing amount of support over the years.
Also, Twitch Prime was really big. I would have never gone. It had Amazon not bought Twitch, I don't think all this would have been possible for these streamers. So that was a really big move for our community specifically, and all communities.
Speaking of Twitch Prime, 2 people have just subscribed to Nilly's stream. Thank you very much for the subs, Holze and Klarsfeld. Welcome to the Nilly Nilpford crew. Is that what you call your subs, the Nilly Nilpford crew?
I believe Hippo Family, but I'm
the
not
Hippo
using
fam.
no, Hippo Family. But yeah, I'm not using that term too often. Yeah.
You need to sell out more. You have to push that.
I should. A lot of people are telling me to.
See, I can imagine in 10 years when Viper can no longer be a top player because he's got arthritis in his fingers or something. I don't know. I can imagine he will be like a seminar speaker, and he'll teach people how to sell out. Like that'll be his thing, and he'll just tour the world doing seminars at like $2,000 a ticket. And he'll just teach them the way of selling out and how to do all that stuff. I think he'll do well at that.
Nilly will have all of Rocket Beans as viewers.
Yeah.
All of them are Nilly subs.
Well, yeah, I think Viper could actually do a bit better than he is. He is a mastermind when it comes to selling out, but there's even more potential.
Let's not give him any ideas. Come on now.
Yeah.
He might be watching. Let's just.
I do too. Maybe
gloss over that.
2 of his subscribers to me as well. No. Well, he simply has one of the most enjoyable Age of Empires contents for sure. He is the best player. He's entertaining. He talks a lot. He has a lot of memes. He interacts with the chat. He, completely deserves to have a huge follower base. And if I got asked, like, I'm back to Age of Empires, what channel should I see? I will ask him, okay, what do you want to see? And if he says, like, I want to see the best player or the most competitive games, I will always send him to the Viper.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm excited to see, making a beautiful segue here, what the future of the franchise is going to hold and how that is going to impact Age of Empires 2. And Age of Empires in general, because we now have Age of Empires 1, 2, and 3 definitive editions and Age of Empires 4 on the horizon.
Yeah. First of all, Age of Empires 1 was announced and got delayed. I believe a great decision. Because
yes.
I still have hard feelings that Age of Empires 3 was so bad. And if they bring another bad game, wow, would have been tough for me. GE wasn't nice. HD wasn't nice. And I think it's really good that they're taking their time.
Well, I'll be honest. I spoke to them. I had a meeting with them. And I said to them, look, you cannot release it like this.
Okay.
You can't do it. And there was a lot of pressure for them to do it. But there was a decision in the end to delay, and it's the best decision they could have made because they cannot afford to screw up again. You know, with the Age 2 HD, that was a mess when it came out. With Age of Mythology Extended Edition, that was a mess when it came out. They can't keep doing that. And I said, like, one of my arguments to them was, guys, you know, you're starting a series now. You've just announced Age of Empires 4. Age of Empires 1, 2, and 3 DE better be the absolute best they can be. Otherwise, the community is just going to lose faith.
So when I arrived in Germany, I believe it was on a Thursday, and I believe on that Thursday was when you and Killer B had done the announcement, I guess, for the definitive editions AoE4. It might have been the next day, but
it was the Thursday, I think.
Okay, so
Wednesday. No, it was Wednesday, I think, and then you came on Thursday. But yeah.
So basically, my point is, I didn't know about it, and I heard about it while it was there. Very exciting time. Gamescom, Age of Empires 2, meeting all of you guys. And I heard about that, and I will be honest, I was legitimately furious. Like, I was in my hotel room, and I was angry because of how HD had been handled. And I was just scared, like very, very scared that it was going to be handled incorrectly again, and that they weren't going down the right route. So I was very angry, and I actually had a video like on my hard drive saved that I'd compiled where I was basically calling them out and doing it in a somewhat constructive fashion. So anyway,
you
where I'm going,
mean for HD?
For HD, of course.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it was. I mean, had I uploaded that video, it would have been interesting because, like, I flat out was, calling it a cash grab, X, Y, and Z. No one is overlooking the fact that it did grow our game, but
it
anyway,
was. I mean, there's
was.
no denying that I think what happened was HD was re-released, or H2 was re-released. Then they realized it was, just to cash in on it, I think. And then they realized, oh, it's actually way more popular and we've sold way more copies than we could ever imagine. But yeah, go on.
Just imagine how awkward that dinner would have been Friday night. I upload the video before I go to Europe, like calling these people out. and then I'm sitting. Yeah, then they're all there. So, like, my point is that you're exactly right. If they screw up Definitive Edition 1, we are going to be very upset, rightly so, and we're going to know where Microsoft's heart truly is. So, like, there's still a sense of fear with these new Definitive Editions because we don't know how they're going to be. And also, a lot of people are upset about the Windows Store, which is like a kind of a different conversation within this one. Yeah. So I will say that when I spoke to them in Europe, the fact that they acknowledged HD's failures really meant a lot to me.
Did you speak to Justin Roby?
No, this was actually when we're at dinner. Like, I had brought up, I forget which individual said it, but they didn't try and explain away HD's failures, basically. And they did say that we want X, Y, and Z to be sorted. And so that really made me positive with a conversation that I didn't think I would ever be positive in. But yeah, there's a lot of potential for a lot of new people to come into the game, whether it's Age of Empires 1, 2, 3, our Age of Empires 2 community will benefit from it going forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I could probably get away with saying that they probably would put more time and effort into Age 2 DE compared to Age 1. Because I think they do recognize that Age 1 is not the big game in the series.
Yeah, of course.
The majority of Age 1 players are in Vietnam, and the stats show that it's very unlikely that most of them will go out and buy it. So, I think Age 2 is definitely one to look forward to, DE. Obviously, it's the whole Windows Store thing, but we'll see how that plays out. It might not be exclusive to the Windows Store. We'll have to wait and see.
And H2DE should be easier for them, at least that's what one tech guy told me, because they had to remodel so much for all the expansions they brought out, the Forgotten Empires team. Oh god, Zach, I saw on your grin that I said something wrong.
No, you didn't.
You have more infos. You're holding them back.
No, I would love to tell you all about it, but I can't.
Okay,
a lot of trouble.
Is it coming before Christmas?
Coming
H2D.
out. Yeah, obviously. It'll be out tomorrow.
Sweet stuff.
Tomorrow night.
I'm going to get my camping cooker and camp in front of my
in front of Valve's office. I don't know. Wait, what? No, it wouldn't be Valve's office. In front of the Microsoft office.
I think that the one thing. So first of all, I'm not very happy about the fact that it may be exclusive on the Windows Store, but you have to look at it from Microsoft's standpoint. So Steam, I don't know the exact percentages, but they take a very large cut of every single sale. And what happened with HD? It was a cash grab. They didn't put a lot of effort into it. Sure, they made a lot of money, but Steam took a lot as well. So not only will these games take people to the Microsoft Store, and they'll get higher profit on any sale, but people will have opened that store and may buy future games there as well. So basically, they have a lot less of a reason to screw this up. Like, they have a lot more to gain from making a quality game.
Well, I think the idea, right, is they think about it like this. Microsoft own the Windows Store and they own Xbox. And Xbox Live has a lot of those community features, and a lot of people were confused when Age 1 DE was announced because it said Xbox Live. Does that mean it's on Xbox? No, it's obviously it's exclusive to PC. They're not going to release these games on Xbox. They're obviously not for consoles. But a lot of people are confused about that. But what it basically means is that Xbox Live is their system for multiplayer, communication, like, all the friend tools, speaking through the game or whatever. And then they have the Windows Store as well. So they have full control over the whole system. And I think if you think about it like that, the idea, I guess, would be have all of the age games in one place where they can build a community and put all the infrastructure in place to have the community there.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of unknowns in this conversation, but I think that the one thing we know for sure is that it will make a positive impact on the viewer numbers and the amount of people coming back to the game, which has great nostalgia for many, many people. So we don't know what the future will hold exactly, but I know there's a lot of positive things on the horizon. And I, for one, as a streamer, love to see people come back to the game, still happening today. And I'm excited for more people coming back to the game in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I hope so too. I just want to reiterate what you said in the chat. Never pre-order games. Just don't do it.
It's a downloadable, like, you can download it. They're not going to run out of them in the back room. Like, never, ever pre-order an electronic copy of a game. Then you're going to be out of $50 or whatever it is for whatever game it is, and it's going to suck. Don't do it.
Yeah, just save yourself. Save yourself. Yep. Run. We haven't really spoke about Age of Empires 4. I don't know if you want to talk about that briefly. It's obviously not a lot to say because there hasn't been any announcements other than it's coming.
Well, I would like to say something about it. As far as what I'd want to see, we don't know like anything about it. Nilly is the one who kind of put this thought into my mind, hearing him talk about it in the past. Nilly was talking about, I think someone asked him if he thought Age 2 could be a big esport, and Nilly, true to form, always is completely honest, and he said, I don't think it can be a huge esport because of how long the games take. And so I agree with him. I can let him explain in a second, but I think that Age 4 needs to somehow encapsulate the variety that Age of Empires 2 has, and also the compositions, and just there's so much there. It needs to encapsulate that in a faster game somehow. And I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what the details are going to be, but I hope that if it's going to be a big esport, it's faster and it holds the same variety as Age 2.
That's if their prerogative is to make it into an esport. Are they going to care about esports?
That's true.
Or is it going to be more, just I don't know. I mean, when Age 3 came out, people were very sort of taken aback by the whole systems in place. And then what have they done since? They did Castle Siege, which is essentially a mobile game. What are they going to do with Age 4? I mean, what kind of form is it going to take? I would love to see it sort of take an esports direction. I think that would be amazing. But the last game they made was a mobile game with microtransactions. So, yeah we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, from what I kind of read in between lines, that they want to get esports into bigger perspective for Age of Empires because they see the potential. But that's obviously a lot of me guessing from what they said.
You're right.
Yeah, and
that's why we're talking about doing the big thing next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. And I believe Age of Empires 2 is, and guys, everyone knows I love this game, but it's a bad game, bad esports game. Honestly, it's like very slow. We have a lot of downtime in the games. We have way too little highlight scenes. Just think about it, how much every caster is hyping when one mangonel kills 4 crossbows and then dies. Which is an equal trait, but everyone goes crazy, and the chat is spamming like, that's a highlight scene in our world. It's just so weird.
There's not really many like visually impressive things, is there?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there are so many ways we can work around it, and even easy ways. But yeah, I hope that Microsoft or Relic is getting some clever heads and put them together to really make a great RTS, I build my town, I build my empire, into also great esports game.
Well, and on that note, we have three great minds right here. Okay, I'll say two. You guys can tell me if I'm great. But we have.
Oh, that's the worst fishing for compliments ever.
It worked. But my point is, we have Age of Empires 2 is the only like relatively big Age of Empires series, Age of Empires community, correct? So we have like Viper's full time. Zach, you're doing big things with Escape Game. We have so many knowledgeable people. It would be stupid for Microsoft or whoever's in charge to not involve those individuals, in my opinion. Like, heavily involve them and get input.
Yeah.
Let's hope that they will do that.
Yeah.
And Zach's sweater.
Someone said the batteries had run out. I was just proving that they hadn't. Just, save the planet.
Have a lot of batteries on your right hand and just switch them around.
Yeah, just hot switching them out. But I think they have shown that they are very receptive to the community, and obviously Age 4 is probably going to be a long way away. So I think there's lots of opportunities to be involved. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
We will have to. Okay. Then I feel like we are through with all the topics, and we could go over into question answer.
Yeah. First, before we get the question answer, Viper is doing a 24-hour stream tomorrow, starting at 18 GMT. And T90, you have announced that you are doing a 24-hour stream as well, and maybe you can tell people about it.
Yeah, mine will be on the 6th of January, and I probably should know this. Trust me, I'll know the schedule and the start time when I do it. But I think it's 17 GMT I start. But it's been a long time coming because we hit the sub goal 6 months ago, and I didn't have a chance to do it. So I'm excited for Vipers. I'll catch as much of that as I can, and I do have mine coming up.
So you're long overdue. You've owed the community this for half a year.
Yeah, there's a screenshot. So when I got the sub button, which was, I guess, a little over a year ago now, someone said as a joke in Discord, 24-hour Forest Nothing stream at X amount of subs. And I think he said 1,000. And I didn't think 500 would ever be doable. So like an idiot, I said, no, we can do it at 500 because that'll never happen. And then we hit 500, and then there was a screenshot saved, and that's why I was supposed to do it 6 months ago.
Well, you're giving them what they deserve now, and that's what matters.
Yeah, of course.
Delivering it in the end. But that's going to be great, and obviously Viper stream tomorrow as well. You said this is your last stream of the year, Nilly?
Yeah, I'm starting to travel during the holidays. Okay. But before the Viper stream, actually, tomorrow, 15 GMT, I believe we will have a best of 7 Leary against Mr. Yo, from what I read in the chat. And Leary is streaming his point of view.
Very nice. That's cool. Yeah.
Wait, what time was that? I'm sorry?
I believe 15 GMT.
Oh, really? See, I just found out about Dracon and Metal, and I'm just now finding out about this, so...
The medal was for some days on AOC Zone, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to make excuses for myself. I'm just saying that I didn't know about it, and now I'm excited. So
cool. Well, I'm actually going home for Christmas tomorrow, so I'll be back in the new year. But I'm not really streaming at the moment, to be honest. I've just been focusing more on stuff behind the scenes, I guess.
Feels bad man and feels good man.
Yeah,
exactly. All that's very necessary. Zach.
Rogan?
Suppose.
To any Microsoft
so Q&A,
watching
if anyone
this stream,
in the chat has any questions to Nilly, T90 or myself.
An Microsoft meter
we are here.
Dissect T's and stream and saying Linux support HINZ.
When is Dracon versus Metal? Nilly?
I believe...
Oh, it's on the AoE2 calendar. Nimino has posted that in the chat for us. It's tomorrow at 19 GMT.
And on that calendar, you will not see the Leary versus Yo, because I guess it's not scheduled. That would be 15 GMT, you said?
Sorry, I just got a donation and need to cut it off. Let's take a look. It isn't on the AoE2 calendar. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, we will have it at 15 GMT, I believe. Literally against. Yeah, pretty sure. And well, 19 GMT, yeah.
Any of you entering the Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds tournament?
Well, I have no interest, but I love will work for Ice Cream. So just hit him with the PM, the guy with the funny hippo head and the mod sword. And he has a tournament. I believe it's a mod where you have Star Wars features in Age of Empires 2. I don't know really how that works. A lot of people are loving it, a lot of signups, and it sounds like they are having fun.
Yeah. It's a cool event. I've not really played much of that, but yeah, I don't know. It's so confusing to me. Like, this is an Age of Empires. It's just weird, but it's fun. T90 official, can you do a 4-sword style game with Nilly and Zero?
Okay, so here's the thing about 4 swords, guys. I don't know if Nilly and Zach know what it is, but it's a scenario series we're doing. It's a RPG on my YouTube right now. And me, Ice Cream, and Dave are doing it. We have died probably over 50 times, and I'm not exaggerating. So that would be an awful idea to do on stream because we spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on that for only 5 episodes.
We could do it offline. Yeah, I have no idea. I should check that out. Sounds cool.
Yeah. Is there ever a time where the 3 of us could meet offline?
No,
Not
never.
Really sure. Never. Okay.
No, I don't like you guys.
Happen. Sorry. Yeah. Barkovian said, I'm going like in a really weird order here. I'm going backwards. Nearly AoE. Lots of people outside of the Age of Empires 2 community think Age of Empires 4 should continue the chronological order of the Age series. What are your thoughts on a modern Age of Empires, and what era would you prefer?
I would prefer medieval. I'm very sure that decision already has been made and is final.
So, okay.
so that's just what I feel like. If they're announcing the game and they're, as it seems, working on it, I'm pretty sure that it's not like, okay, let's do a modern game, let's wait for feedback, and then, okay, now we worked like 9 months on it or half a year or something and had a crew of X amount of people, just change the whole game. I believe that's not an option. So I believe, for me personally, because I love medieval fights, it's so much better. I don't like the tank wars as much.
I don't believe it would be a modern game. I was saying this in Cologne with you guys. You know, I said I don't think they'd make it modern, just because a lot of people have said, "Hey, Relic, they made Dawn of War, was it, and other Company of Heroes, modern sort of RTS style games. Surely it's going to be modern." It's like, well, are they going to make the same game 3 times? No. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I believe it would not be modern either. But yeah, anyway, other questions? Actually, T90, we should probably throw that to you as well. What do you think? Era.
I don't know what... I think they'd be dumb to do it in modern times or in the future. So I imagine that they would have the common sense to do medieval, since all the other games are medieval, and I hope it is medieval.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, more questions. I'm just going to go ahead and read them out if you don't mind. Tato, what? Where did I read Tato from? T90, Nilly, and me, best/favorite game of the year.
Oof, that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're looking at the final between Leary and Viper, there were some really solid games.
Mongo with the Inca game was
that was so sick. And then Max also had some good game. I mean, that's such an impossible answer. Like, I can think back to some games. I don't even know if it was this year. I think it was last year when Viper and Yo played in T90 series. Like, that game still sticks in my mind, Nilly, the Gold Rush game. But I think that's an impossible one to give a definitive answer to.
So hard. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. I can't remember the games that I watched in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, or September.
Exactly.
You know, like there have been some great games. There's been some great events, great tournaments. So, you know, all I can say is just keep watching, and then there'll be more great games to come.
Yeah, of course.
More questions. Let's see. Who of you is the best Forest Nothing player?
I've never played it, so probably not me.
Probably T90.
I let's just say I have not practiced. I can watch it for a 24-hour stream, but that's it.
Do you think AoE2 will come out in AoE2 DE will come out in 2018? I hope so. I think maybe towards the end of 2018.
Earliest the end, right? Because they need to get DE1 finished first, right?
Yeah.
It's the same team working on it, right? Oh! Oh! I'm happy that I did this talk show.
Okay.
Sweet. Oh.
I hope it would come out in 2018, but I mean, I have no idea when it's going to come out.
Well, I mean, if they're doing AoE1 DE, AoE2, AoE3 DE, if they don't upload AoE2 Definitive Edition at the end of 2018, that's almost putting AoE4 out to 2020, right? Unless they released two games very close to one another. So it's hard for us to really know.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to get 3 Definitive Editions out before Age of Empires 4. And they announced Age of Empires 4 in the summer of this year. How long do you think it would take them to release Age of Empires 4? Like, you're not going to leave it for 3 or 4 years and do a definitive edition every year and then 4 years later do Age 4, right? I mean, that's just surely not going to be the case. So
it would have been smarter if they knew when the game was planned on being announced and that it was finished and then announced it to maintain all that hype from Gamescom, and then people could just snatch it up right then. But hopefully there's not too much longer of a wait for all these new games.
Yeah, I hope so. I would like to get there sooner rather than later because I think it's going to be huge for the game and the community.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see. Another quick question to Nilly. Talk about the Nilpford tournaments, the King of the Hippos. You have said that Age of Empires can't be an esport as it is too slow, but what about the Nilpford settings that are more fast-paced? Do you think they're more esports ready?
I think Clash of the Hippo solves one of the many problems, namely that we are taking away the first boring 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it feels less like I'm building my empire, and like it loses a bit of flair of Age of Empires. But I feel if you want to go into entertainment, Clash of the Hippo is better than the standard Dark Age.
I would agree. Right. Okay. So you know the Age of Empires, The Forgotten. So this is the first expansion for Age of Empires 2 HD. Mm-hmm. Before it was released on Steam and it was like being beta tested, I suggested to the team back then that we make an esports version of the game and trial it and see if we can sort of speed up the Dark Age. And what we did was we started every civ with 6 villagers. And then we would obviously increase that for the mines and the Chinese. And we ended up going back to just having the 3 because a lot of people were very sort of like, it's too much at once. It's too different. You know, you can't sort of speed up the Dark Age. It's an important phase of the game.
Yeah, and I was talking to that with Cision, who talked to us before it was called Forgotten Empires, I believe.
Yeah, it was just called Forgotten Empires, yeah.
And it wasn't public yet, and he came to a German LAN and actually let us play it and test it.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that, yeah. And he wanted to implement 2 versions, the normal version and an esport version with more villagers at the start. And I absolutely loved that idea.
That was my idea.
About it. Yeah, StarCraft 2 is basically designed to be the best RTS esport game at that time.
Yeah.
And after like 2 or 3 years, they made a change and just let them start with double the amount of workers because they just felt like, yeah, we can skip 40 seconds of boredom at the start. It's so weird.
I agree with having separate game modes because Like the beauty of Age of Empires 2 is that we can still have an expert scene and they can still have complete noobs enjoy their time with, building up their empire. But, I think that 2 different modes would be great because then those noob players, those slower players can play in a more casual setting and then you play with a different setting. It's like having RM and DM in a sense. You got to have something in between there.
Yeah. So who is the best player of the year, most improved player, and less well-known player to keep an eye on? We're really far behind with questions, but we're going to go through anyway.
Well, by the way, great that you're doing that, Zach. So best player of the year, obviously the Viper. Most improved player, probably Leary.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Player we need to look out the most, Matthews.
Oh, okay. Melkor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. All right.
I'm going to answer a question here since it's directed towards me. Prankkill says, need an update on the No Wall mod series. Yep. So for a while, for those that don't know, I did T90 series. However, it became very complicated to organize with players and my work and whatnot. Since this is now my job, T90 series will return during the 24-hour stream, and it will be with Wall Kingdoms 2. There will be a separate Wall Kingdoms and No Wall mod combined. So I'm very excited for that.
Oh, cool. Actually, yeah. Did you already request that one?
Yeah, I talked to Giant Apple. He said it should be fairly simple, and he's going to get it to me before the 24-hour stream.
Okay.
Because the issue always was World of Kingdoms as a mod, so you can't add another mod on top of that, so no wall mod wasn't possible. But it will be, so I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Robo asked for a pay rise. No, get out of here.
Correct.
And I'm gonna skip through. Okay, what's the best way to get the Age of Empires community to grow exponentially? I don't think it's going to grow exponentially.
Exponentially is tough.
Yeah, but I mean, to get it to grow in general, we can talk about that briefly. I just think we need to keep doing what we're doing and try and do bigger and better things in the future. I know it's like the shittiest answer ever, but
it's true though.
It's true.
We have to be consistent. The YouTube channels have brought the Twitch community to the position we're at now. So I think that YouTube channels just need to keep doing what they're doing. The one downside really is that this is a really big spectator sport now. And, though we have thousands more watching videos and streams, how many new expert players have come in from that? And really the answer is none. If there were some, there were very few. And so, that's kind of the thing we can't avoid in Age of Empires 2, because it takes so many hours and so much experience and so much skill to get to the top level that I don't see that aspect changing at all.
This is another reason why I'm very excited for Age 4, actually, because it's going to kind of make a new playing field for everybody to scramble to get good. And I think one of the most exciting times in the history of this game, looking back, were those formative years where strategies were being developed and there wasn't really a meta game. And we talked about this a lot in Cologne. You were saying, Nilly, about, Mr. Fix-It Online and like the early German LANs and stuff, and how people wouldn't share their strats. Like they were so protective over their recorded games even. Nowadays, there isn't really that kind of development anymore in a way. But that's a nice thing about War of the Kingdoms, right? It's added so much new stuff.
Yeah, we will see a lot of new strategies, just the combinations of the Civ for the next upcoming 3v3 tournament. That will be super interesting because people basically have no idea how civilizations work together yet.
Yeah. Another question was, what's the difference between AoE2 DE and AoE2 HD? We will find out when AoE2 DE is... well, it's been announced, but when the details come, right now we don't know what the differences are going to be. Do we think that Viper's dominance is bad for the tournaments? Interesting question.
I think yes.
Go ahead, Nilly. Go ahead.
It's really tough. Like when I design my tournaments, I obviously, and that's just very complex question. I think it's bad because it is at the moment too tough to beat him. And there are too few players who really have a shot. Like, who did ever beat him? It was doubt in the Clash of the Hippo final where the Viper trolled a bit. It was Leary beating him twice in a best of one, which is one of the only formats that the Viper can lose. Because if we do it a fair best of 5, best of 7 format, it's so likely that he will win.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are complaining how unfair map generation is in Age of Empires. And yes, it is unfair, but it's the only variance at the moment we have in this game. And every sport needs variance. If you can always predict the better team wins, there's no excitement. And I believe map generation and spawning and how like civs counter each other a bit and they aren't completely balanced is what we need to not see the Viper dominate every single game.
Yeah. Well, I can go ahead.
I was going to say, I can look at it two different ways. I mean, if the Viper quits tomorrow, there's a lot of Viper fanboys. There's a lot of YouTubers out there, like myself and Zach, that every time, or Neely as well, I'm sorry, every time they upload a Viper video, it gets so many more views, right? Yeah. So if Viper was no longer dominant, there wouldn't be as much fanboying, I guess you could say. There wouldn't be as many people hyped about every Viper game, and that might make it bland for some people. Now, on the other hand, I think in a true esport, you want to see different people winning tournaments, and Viper has a perfect situation right now. He's living off his Age of Empires content. He's already the best, so he has the time to practice while Leary's in school. Leary's not living off the game. Other people have their jobs in school. So not only is he the best, but people who might have the potential can't play as often to catch up. So, I don't know. It's good and bad at the same time.
You could also argue that if he wasn't the number one player, that all of his fanboys that are, fickle enough to only follow him for being number one, the glory supporters, they would move to the next number one player and still be interested in it. But that really ignores the fact that Viper is a great entertainer as well, and he does a lot with his stream to engage people, and I think that's really, really good. As far as it being bad for tournaments, well, everybody likes to support the underdog, and sometimes, well, not everybody, but I like to support the underdog, but the underdog never wins, and it's like, okay, maybe this time, no, Viper's won it again. And I guess some people kind of would like to see somebody rise up to challenge him, but I mean, that's not, you can't really criticize Viper for that, right? I mean,
of course,
he's got to do.
Leary, I will say that Viper, though he is winning, he is showing vulnerabilities. In King of the Desert, Leary came very close. In other tournaments, Viper, though he may win, it's not like he's sweeping in the finals. But as Nilly said, the more games, like if it's a best of one, there's a lot more of a chance for someone to beat Viper. But if it's a best of 7 or best of 9, you're just giving Viper more opportunity to show his class.
Yeah. So Giant Apple asked, have we spoke to Chris at Vubly again since the AOC Zone thread? Not directly, no, but we have spoken to Swiss Boy, who spoke to him, and there's he's like a go-between at the moment. No progress, though, to be honest. And, well, I don't know, because I've not heard back. So it's been a while now. Hopefully we'll hear something soon, maybe. T90 official and Nilly, how do you think is the best way to expand the community to a larger amount of people? I think that's similar to the question we had before. Just more of the same, basically. I think to go a bit further, more partnerships, people like Rocket Beans TV, we can get them involved. We had Wagamama from the Dota scene getting involved. Next year, I want to reach out to some esports teams and get some people involved as well. That would be my goal for the next year as well.
There's another question a while ago about how to get involved, support the community as a viewer. And there's no single answer for that. I think that, like for me, when I started casting, I just did it because I thought it'd be fun and I saw others doing it. So if you want to be a caster, just do it. There's a lot of opportunity for like small events, small tournaments. There's a lot of opportunity for maybe helping organize and admin those things as well. I don't know if you guys have had any other ideas on how someone as a viewer could get involved in the community.
For me personally, like, it feels so weird, but a nice and friendly comment is just so incredibly good for me. Like, the thing is, sadly, how people work and how I work as well, is like one bad comment is more intense than 10 good comments.
Yeah.
But
human nature.
Sadly, but it shouldn't be that way. But it's just like if I uploaded a video, go to bed, and wake up next morning and have like 5 people saying, "Nearly, I sat through the whole thing 2.5 hours, enjoyed every minute of it." I'm so incredibly motivated to go into the next stream. It's incredible. Just one single person, and yeah, I believe just spreading the love and giving us something back. And it's like zero money. Like, honestly, that one guy who says, "I love your content," is worth more to me than a guy who donates $5 without a comment.
Yeah, I'd agree. Though this is now my job, like, I genuinely wouldn't do it if it wasn't for that kind of thing, right, Nilly? Like, I would not want to get bad comments or not get uplifting support when I stream and make enough money to survive. It's not how I would want it. I would want almost to like just get by, but have a loving community versus like make a ton of money and have a shitty one. So I agree.
Well, I think it's true for everybody.
Like, what's the money?
Yeah, I'm literally only on the stream to stay relevant right now. Like, that's it. That's why I'm here today. I wanted to just say that most people who got into this game and became, like, let's say, a public figure, sort of got a little bit of a following on Twitch or YouTube or wherever, nobody did it for money. Nobody got into this game for money. And I think that's such a ludicrous thing to even suggest, because it's only this year that people have even been able to support themselves earning from this game. It's not something you get into to make money. It's something you get into for the love of the game and for the support of the community that comes as you start, sort of streaming more regularly and making content more regularly. And that's why we've all stuck around. That's why we all do what we do.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah.
There's another question that interested. Oh, well, I don't know if we want to get into this, but Ice Cream said, "What do you think of HD water balance?" So I don't think it's fun as a player. Like, when I play it, I feel like it's very macro heavy, and I don't like that. It's not like AOC, like water micro. It was just beautiful for me, but I do understand the aspects of the water triangle and why they're trying to add it in. I think there needs to be some changes, but I just don't think it's as fun as AOC water meta.
I enjoy it kind of the same. At the start, it was like, oh, something new, I like it. But now it's just figured out you cannot really, like, galleys are a bit too weak. You never like have the point where you can really transition into it in feudal age. Sometimes it's just, it lacks creativity, no switch around, no surprises. The only good thing could be a good demo hit, but then they're even too weak because they cannot one shot, or like one explode won't kill a unhurt fire ship. So
yeah.
It's just not as fun for me.
Very neutral, I think.
I just think that water maps in general just are not as entertaining in AOC or HD. And at least, they've tried to do something. Gone are the days of galley micro like it used to be. But I don't know. It's just different. I think I'm the same. I'm neutral. I would rather watch an Arabia or a land map any day, really.
I'm still a big fan of mixed maps. I like the stuff of like Golden Hill or continental mixed maps.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair coastal, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's better for team games though. In that case, like I think it would be great to see 3v3 tournament with mixed maps with mix of land and water. It's a bit more strategic, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the water topic is never going to be something that everyone agrees on, because for a while when it was AOC water, half the chat would go, "Oh my gosh, that micro," and half the chat would go, "Oh my gosh, the same unit all the time." I don't think that everyone's going to agree with us, but those are our opinions.
Well, I think the questions are starting to sort of stop now. I guess we've been going for a while. I guess we can answer a few more if there is anything. But I just wanted to say thanks for having you here, T90. Thanks for coming on, and wish you both a great Christmas and New Year, and everybody in the chat as well. Hope you have a good holiday.
Yep.
Was that the end of the stream?
Oh no, I'm just saying now because I mean questions are slowing down.
Yeah, it felt so ending, but I wasn't sure. It felt like you kept on reading for questions, but still like finishing thoughts.
Yeah, okay. I'm done. See you later.
Just in between feedback. By the way, it's nice to have you here. I didn't ask any questions yet, but okay.
It was great coming on here today. I've seen you guys in the past in all the different episodes, and I really wanted to join and discuss things. So thanks for inviting me on.
Sweet stuff. When is the next episode of Jeopardy?
So to give more info than I probably should, I really wanted to get Viper and Slam, but then Slam went AFK for a while, maybe a month and a half ago. He had this period of, I don't know, he wasn't online much before KOTD. So like the struggle is, as much as I want top players, I need to have people with decent microphones. And so like Slam and Viper are obviously two big names, good microphones, and solid English. So I need to do it, but I don't know when. And after that, give me ideas, because I think we can get Rez, we can get Memb, get other casters in the community, but eventually I'm going to run out of ideas. Oh, and Zach, crap, I keep thinking I had Zach on. Well, I'm sorry. This is awkward.
That's why I'm on the show. I said already, I'm here just to stay relevant. Keep shilling myself.
Should you start thinking about like the defending champion to invite him first?
The other thing is Nilly.
That's me. Oh yeah.
The other thing is Nilly. I screwed up like so bad on the point systems on both those videos. I don't remember specifically, but I feel like there was a lot of complaints from people. So I need to also like get the system down there, because it was not good.
Gotta fix it.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it is tough to do that. But I liked your questions, and yeah.
The doubt and MBL one was hilarious. When doubt, I forget, it was what taunt is. Yeah, what taunt is enemy sighted, I think, and he goes longbows. I'm like, wait, what? He goes, I thought we were talking about TTF racing. I was like, okay.
Oh, okay, then.
What?
That's classic.
You have to listen to it.
That is classic doubt.
It was hilarious. He was probably in a game and not paying attention.
Yeah, probably. Couple other questions. Thoughts about Riot's return to AoE? Anyone?
It's like Zach announcing that he will do something. Like, I will be excited when Riot starts to stream and I can enjoy his stream, but I'm not excited for the simple fact of it yet.
Yeah, like he's streaming right now, actually, but I mean, the question will be, will he stick around when things get busy again? If he's just back for the Christmas season, sure, that's very exciting, but ideally, from a competitive standpoint, you have Riot, one of the best players available, and if he leaves again, it's just going to be the same old story. So I hope that Riot can stick around and stay involved with events.
Yeah, I hope there's enough motivation for them to stay around, like tournaments and things, like with prize pools and that kind of stuff. That would be nice.
Okay.
Is Escape Gaming going to do frequent tournaments like early in the year, or fewer but longer ones? You have to wait and see.
Ooh-hoo-hoo.
Seems like there's something planned.
There's something planned, but we'll see. We'll have something next year, I hope. so early next year to announce. Yeah, I don't see much else.
Okay, seems like Rio is streaming at the moment, and Sati is streaming constantly. But yeah, I will tune in. I will see what he does. In the past, I felt like I loved his speed, his decision making, but felt that his reactions in between games were a bit unnatural. It felt like, oh god, a lot of people are getting viewers because they're getting hyped, but normally he's such a calm, chilled, relaxed guy, and he just was so much on his stream. But I'm not sure, that's like a year ago or something. It could completely change, but I had a weird feeling in between games with him. Yeah, probably shouldn't have said that.
you always want players at that level around, so hopefully he sticks around.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add there, to be honest. Would be nice just to see more people at the high level. That's what I want to see. I want to see more competition between the top players. Of course. That would be the best thing. Can we have a Christmas song from you guys, like sing together? I don't think that's possible because there's delay. So we all just go out of sync, and that would be terrible.
The other thing I want to say before this ends, this is the last Talk the Empire of the year. So
ever
going into 2018, I think, though 2017 was great, I think 2018 will be even better for Age of Empires, like way better. I feel like it's only going to improve from here for a variety of different reasons. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think it's going to be hopefully one of the best years for the game that we've had yet. That would be a great thing. And well, I mean, it depends, I guess, when DE comes out. Maybe DE will have the biggest impact in a while, but we'll have to wait and see, right?
Yeah, sweet stuff. So then Zach already thanked us, T90, and let me thank you as well, Zach and T90. It was a pleasure to have you here. Have a wonderful holiday, have a great year, and just make sure, guys, T90, follow, like, and subscribe. He will have his 24-hour stream at the 6th of January, and Zero Empires will announce the next announcement pretty soon as well.
Yeah, this was the announcement to the announcement of the announcement. That's where we're at right now.
That was so smooth, Nui.
It was good. It was good. Oh yeah, why is escape.gg down? Real quick, because a lot of people have been asking this. Robo broke the website, and we're going to rebuild it from the ground up. So next year, I mean,
what?
This is the guy asking for a pay rise as well. I mean,
he broke it that you have to build it up from scratch again?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Maybe
he pressed the
he's
button,
already
which
built it up.
to press, but yeah.
Maybe he's already built it up from scratch, and Aussie Lag just hasn't made it available yet.
Yeah, maybe. It's all good. It's done us a favor. It needed redoing anyway, so it's all good.
Okay. Okay, I will answer some questions to me after we wrap this up. And yeah, T90, give us your social media, please.
Literally everything is T90 official. So, like, twitch.tv/T90 official, Twitter/T90 official. So if you want to find me anywhere, you can search
Instagram,
for T90 official.
MySpace, Bebo, Snapchat,
Zanga, good old
Tinder.
Zanga.
You can get him on Tinder. Just at T90 official. He'll be there.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
I have no idea if you're actually on there, but just, I think that if you're at T90 official, you should at least have a presence on every platform.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for those T90 babes, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, sweet stuff, guys. Have a wonderful evening, day, and life. And as we said before, spread the love. T90 is waving. You can't see it, but he's actually waving here with the sounds.
All right. See you, everybody.
Bye.